Hello, dear folks, my dear lovely audiences. Welcome to the East-West Show. Jack Chow on the East-West Show with lots of concern about what's going on. For example, the healthcare issue. It's been quite a while since we are worrying about what is if Obamacare is going to be replaced by Donald Trump care. And later we heard something differently. So on and so forth. It's been quiet for a little bit. So we are lost at this very moment. So that's why we're saying what's up with healthcare. Today with me in answering all these questions is my big friend and professional in the healthcare business and CEO of Gold Owner, Coco Wang. Coco, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jack.
All right, very good. Like I say many times, there's a crying baby, bring the baby to the mother, or the sister of the baby, all right, in your case, anyway. For quite some time, we heard that there's the push to overturn Obamacare. With the push failed again and again, with a revised term and it failed again, there seems to be little quiet. So for us, we're not necessarily holding Obamacare, neither do we want a replacement of whoever. All we want is a care. There's a certain care for sure that we can rely upon. Other than that, we don't care who the care is. We just want a care, right? I remember last time when you were here, we say care, all we want is a care, something like that. So briefly, and in a general picture, what's going on so far?
All right. So as we have known, 3-4 weeks ago, we have been pretty happy that President Donald Trump's so-called the Trump care has been overturned. And it seems like that the continuation of Affordable Care Act, which will also known as the Obamacare, is going to be continued. But somehow we don't know if this is the actual case or not, because it seems like President Donald Trump has bringing back the issue into the White House, into the discussion, and trying to, toggle the balls a little bit again. So hopefully he will push out a new care system. He has been pretty quiet for the past 3-4 weeks, but actually last Wednesday, which is April 12th, 2017, he had made a big announcement. He said that he will reduce fund or cut the budget to insurance company who get the budget from the federal government to pay for patients' out-of-pocket expense. As a result, we as professionals are scared of a hike in premium in the upcoming year.
Okay. If Trump care succeeds.
Correct.
Am I right?
So that case, though, because as we know, 3 weeks ago, the Trump care has been totally out of the picture. But now, continuation of Obamacare still has a lot of issue. So President Donald Trump is bringing back the issue, saying that I will give you a budget cut. Basically, whatever you get from the federal government as a subsidy toward your out-of-pocket expense, we will now cut it off. That means as the insurer, myself, or the insurance company, if they don't get this budget cut from insurance payers, which is us. So as a result, as the insurance payer myself, we are scared of a premium hike as a result of the so-called budget cut coming up.
All right. Now that I seem to a little bit kind of seeing a picture of almost like once Trump care is in place, it's going to tend to cost more rather than Obamacare, which costs less. Am I right by judging by the money amount?
Yes, looking at the picture right now, that seems to be the case because as we know, in the current Obamacare era, we as the insured, the insurance company rate us based on how many income we have as a household and how many household size. If I have a large household, even with the same income, I will be paying less because of a subsidy than someone who's maybe single but making the same income as my family.
All right. Okay. Now that when we see Obamacare, we see there are some different characters. The number one character is a mandate, right? So when, suppose somewhere down the road when Trump Care takes place, does he or does he not do the mandate part?
As we have known from previous conversations that President Donald Trump wants to make this non-mandated. So
Non-mandated.
yeah, by not being mandated, meaning you don't have to pay tax penalty as a result of not having insurance.
I see.
Yeah, so it's voluntary coverage. If you want to buy it, you purchase it. If you don't want to buy insurance, then you don't purchase it.
And then we're back to square one. We're talking about thousands of people, no, hundreds of thousands, no, not, maybe even more, like millions of people uncovered, right? Which is the biggest problem of this nation.
Correct.
Right, that we do have quite a bunch of folks who are not medically covered.
Correct.
Right. So we're back to page one, to square one. Am I right?
Correct. So now with what Trump has been announcing with the budget cut, it's not necessary he will rolling out of his new system, but he's really trying to toggle the ball and getting the Democrats to talk to him again regarding the continuation of Obamacare. If the budget cut happens, we as the insurance company will get a lot of deficit as a result of that. Then we cannot offer our clients the price they have as low as they have right now. So as a result, the Democrat will be worried and he will come back to President Donald Trump saying, hey, how can we resolve this? So even though he didn't really announce any new plan, any new strategy, but the fact that he announced the budget cut will result in some new conversation between the two parties.
Now it seems that we are facing a situation that, suppose someday when Trump Care takes place, it's going to be either you do not have health care or you pay a higher premium.
Most
either
likely.
or, right? Right? In that case, lots of people still choose that we will go free with no care at all. And then our emergency room, ER, is going to be overcrowded. Once again, the same story. For 2 years, we're going back to square one. Am I right?
Correct.
Okay.
So right now, no one is really talking about any new strategies. But from what we have known, if President Donald Trump does the budget cut, it will leave the consumers, the insurance companies, worse off. As a result, we will be paying a higher premium, like you just mentioned, and the insurance company will probably charge us more for co-pays, for out-of-pocket expense,
I see.
and also for premium.
I see. When we say higher premium, though, do we have a percentage in mind about roughly how much higher? If $1 higher, I don't care, right? If it's 10%, 20%, 30%, whatever. So do we have any kind of estimation?
The statistics right now haven't done any studies regarding this, but from what we have known that if they do get the budget cut, that these funds who were originally passed to insurance company to reduce patients' out-of-pocket expense is around total of $9 billion in 2017. As a result, how many insurance people there are, we're gonna evenly spread those costs because those are being budget cutting from the government to the insurance company. Then they will be charging the insurance or the patients for the premium in order to compensate for that huge amount of money.
I see. So in other words, we're not only talking about a premium hike, we're talking about a huge hike.
Correct.
A huge hike.
Correct.
And then that would automatically drag the whole thing back to square one where we started, if not even worse.
Yes, and the worst news is that insurance company like us, we have a deadline to set the premium, to set the benefit for next year. So supposedly the premium should be set by end of April 2017 for whatever they will be charging the patients for 2018. As you know, if this bill or if this is actually happening, or if just a rumor that it's going to happen, they will think of ways to compensate for their loss. as a result, they might set it to very high. Even though this act does not get through, this does not happen eventually, but the premium is already set to be high.
How likely is going to happen? How likely?
Personally, I think it is very unlikely because a budget cut like that, where is he gonna use the money towards? But at the same time, like I was saying, he's really just messing up the boat, trying to get the Democrat to talk to him, bring back the Trump care into the conversation, into the discussion again.
I see.
So then people will be worried, oh, the continuation of Obamacare will result in higher premium. Why don't we listen to what President Donald Trump will say?
I see. All right. My dear audience, today we're talking about our health care. Like I said in the very beginning, that we are not necessarily holding up to Obamacare, nor are we wanting anything to replace it. So all we want to do is hold on to something under which that we have a health care, right? Today, in answering the questions, was my friend Coco Wang of Gold Honor. She's a CEO, and she's an excellent individual in the business as a professional for many years. Young as she may look, she is very knowledgeable. Let's find out what's inside the pocket. Stay with us. We'll be right back, please. Hello, my dear audiences, lovely friends, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the East-West discussion. Today, we're talking about our healthcare. Among all those issues, there are importance, there are less importance, there are least importance, of course, there are most importance. One of the most important issue is our healthcare. Though I sit here, well, okay, I can sit here for the next 7-10 hours, no problem, but I cannot say tomorrow I may not end up to somewhere like emergency room or even die. So things will happen to you at any given moment. Now, so this leads automatically to our health care. What kind of care do we have? I heard a friend who told me that he was in emergency for 3 days and 1 night. No, 3 days and 4 nights.
4 nights.
3 days and 4 nights. And went out, they received a bill of $115,000.
Around that.
That could cost you almost half of a house. Right? So, a fortune. Arms and legs we're talking about. So, are we going to run into that situation because we do not have health care? The fact that we do not have health care is because we are frightened away from the system. We chose not to, rather run into the risk, and so on and so forth. We're going back to square one, even before Obamacare. So, with Coco, my friend, Coco Wang of Gold Honor, a big name, Gold Honor, okay, a CEO of Gold Honor, we're getting questions answered. I'm touching base with her. Okay, now, forget your profession.
Correct.
Forget everything. Forget the politics. As an American citizen, how do you weigh the importance of a healthcare, please?
Healthcare is the essential benefit for any living person. You know, since the day we were born, we were born in the hospital, in a sanitized, in a hygiene environment.
Yeah.
And as a result, growing up, we're receiving all the immunizations that keep us strong and stay away from any outspreading diseases.
Yes.
And, going to college, going to all the school system,
all the way.
Yeah, you ask to be sanitized, among all areas, and also the annual physical checkup that required, for any essential events in your life, and even before marriage, after marriage, before birth, and going to senior citizen, we now have the Medicare, where you get to see doctors you wanted and go to see the hospitals. It's very essential from day one, since the day we were born to the last day until like hospice moment you have in the hospital. It's very important for any individual in general. And having access to healthcare, having the access to affordable healthcare is the even more important issue.
How do you weigh our system as versus the rest of the world among the most advanced nations?
For us, as you have known, let's compare U.S. and Canada.
Yeah, all right, good.
Yeah, so we're
our
neighbors.
next door neighbor, all right.
Correct. We, before Obamacare, before Affordable Care Act, we are voluntarily buying insurance. Meaning if you want insurance, you pay for it and you get it. And they also have pre-existing condition waiver, meaning say if you have heart disease or you have a open heart surgery, or even you are taking medicine, you are inclined to have increased premium being rated, and also you may be declined.
Yeah, rejected.
Unless you have a employer-sponsored group plan.
I see.
Yeah, after Obamacare now, these two are out of the question. And any benefit you receive from the insurance company, any claim they pay for you has no maximum limit. So the cap is lifted.
Okay.
And as a result, with people with income less than 400% of the federal poverty line are able to receive premium subsidy that will reduce the premium they pay monthly. And also,
oh, by the way, what is the federal poverty line, please?
Federal poverty line is the line that the federal government published based on annual income. Basically, anybody between 183% and 400% of the federal poverty line are able to buy insurance through.
So what is the poverty line itself?
Poverty line itself is just a number that rates.
And for example, what is the median house income supposed to be poverty line?
Oh, it's different for different households.
I see.
Say for a single, like myself, for a single family, my federal poverty line, the lowest, the cutoff before you get Medi-Cal, is around 17,000.
17,000, okay.
And the maximum I can go to before I can get no subsidy, it's around 50, 60,000.
Oh, I see, I see. All right, okay. All right, good. Go ahead.
Yeah. So as a result, we could get reduced premium and also reduce out-of-pocket expense. Say you originally paying $50 for an office copay. Now, if your income is lower, you may be paying only $5.
I see.
But if your income's a little bit higher, you may pay $30. Still less than the original $50.
I see, all right. So when you were saying compared to Canada, though, how do we compare the two? How do Canadians do with their health care?
Yeah. From what I have known in the Canadian healthcare system is that their healthcare is very well-rounded. And it's basically paid by the government. So if I go visit a doctor office, I don't even have to pay co-payment. But as a result, they have a higher social welfare tax because that budget is used up in the social healthcare system.
I see.
Yeah. Compared to us, it's definitely cheaper in terms of premium because they're not paying anything. It's just a higher taxes. But tax goes proportionally based on your income, so it's pretty fair. If you're higher income, you pay more tax, you contribute to the budget, the box, the piggy bank more.
Okay.
But if you're lower income, you still receive the same access to care, same co-payment to care, but you're paying a less premium as a result of your tax.
So among the most advanced nations, are we ranking on the top, in the middle, or at the bottom?
I think we're middle to top.
Middle to top, okay. So after all, correct me if wrong, we're talking about government that does not produce anything, right? They do not do productions. They do not make money, right? What they do is that they are collecting money from taxpayers, and they are the ones managing the money to make sure you're covered, right? In other words, it's my money rendered to the government, and from the government, I get the benefit.
Correct.
I get care, right? In other words, I buy the care through government by paying tax, and then next thing I do, I see a doctor. Am I right? So, in other words, it is fair to say that is our money, and we deserve the care. Am I right? Okay, now, and the other layer of the question is that there are folks who do not make enough money. So they cannot do the part I do to submit money to the government to get care. Yet, we're not a jungle. We're a society, a civilized, educated society. It is our burden on the shoulder to also take care of them. So my money, okay, portion of my money goes to me, myself, and portion of my money goes to the basket that we care for others who does not make as much as do, unfortunately, right? So this is supposed to be the mechanism of the whole thing, am I right?
Correct.
Okay, now, the government's a failure. It is a government failure if we do not have a good care. It is government failure if we are not satisfied with the care. And it is government failure, they have to replace one plan with another, and leaving us in the dark. Am I right?
Correct.
I'm not necessarily criticizing anything, Obamacare or Trumpcare, whoever. I'm simply talking about one fact, that we are so worried about the care we're taking. Am I right? Okay, now, so back to point one. Point one being that this is, after all, is this a political issue or not? So no, forget your profession, forget whatever. You are just a wonderful young lady there giving your very human comment. Is it a political issue?
Personally, I think there is, but I don't know how many degree there are or how many percentage I can give to you. But thinking about the tax part, you know, ever since Obamacare rolled out, insurance carrier, from what I have now, I'm talking to different, you know, VPs, regional sales manager of different healthcare insurance provider companies, they have been telling me that they're getting a much higher taxes. You know, with them, it's very hard to manage because now they have more patients they have to pay for their medical bill. And these patients are not contributing to the bank, like you said.
All right, good.
But at the same time, you know, they're getting more money taking away from them, because the government says, you know, you are the insurance company, you have to contribute to the pool as well. However, these people who are not making enough money, they're lower income, they're less privileged, or they are getting subsidized, meaning someone is paying for them. So the government decided that, you know, we as the insurance, we are with the contributor for taxes, or the insurance company who contribute to the pool, we will, you know, our money pooled together will be subsidizing these people. Now, I don't think there's a huge problem with this, because there are always the less privileged people in the society. But however, I think there should be certain degree that will promote them toward, you know, making money, toward them, you know, maybe promoting more job opportunity for them, so they are willing to work and, you know, and contribute to the pool just like we do.
Okay, all right. My dear friends, with my friend Coco Wang of Gold Honor, we're getting a bunch of information about our healthcare. For healthcare, we're talking about two issues. Number one, the current issue, the status quo so far. And number two, talking about the fear being overturned, not overturned, replaced with a better one, we're okay. If it is replaced with a better one. If it's replaced with a worse one, oh, so we're done. We're so worried. So that's why. So stay with us. We'll be right back, please. Hello, my dear folks, my lovely friends. Welcome back to the show. After all, we're fellow Americans. We care about ourselves. By caring ourselves, I mean, the first issue is that you have a good health. You are provided with a good health care so that you can go to work, whatever, for free, worry-free. Now, we are worried. We're not worry-free. Number one, according to my friend Coco Wang, a guest of today, of Special Owner, CEO of Gold Honor of a big insurance company, a professional, the question was that, should we go to square one, like the prior to Obamacare date, Or should we go to our status quo, stay with the status quo, which is one that we are with Obamacare. Going back before, though, we're talking about it is not a mandated. You may choose not to, you may choose to, you may choose whatever. You die. Emergency rooms are crowded, overcrowded, and you have a real problem. With Obamacare, there is no mandate, there is no capping, there is no pre-existing conditions, and supposed to be relatively lower premium. And with Trumpcare, with the government cut of these subsidies from the federal, we're facing a little tight situation. Now, we are among the three. So now, after all, like I said, I just asked a question. I believe that you did not answer the question directly. Was or is healthcare a political issue?
I think definitely is.
It is?
Yes.
In what way? How? By what extent, please?
Actually, let's go back to what I was just mentioned that, President Donald Trump announced on April 12th, which is last Wednesday, that there will be a big budget cut with the insurance company. Now, what originally they get as subsidy from the federal government to pay for those people with their help paying with their out-of-pocket maximum will not be being cut. And we did mention that's around $9 billion for 2017. Now, and I want to mention some quote he just mentioned that he said, I don't want people to get hurt. He said during a Wall Street Journal interview, what I think should happen and will happen is that the Democrat will start calling me and negotiating. So such announcing of such budget cut creates a lot of fear in a professional or in an insured person myself. Because I don't want to see a premium hike. I'm already paying increased incremental insurance premium every year. I don't want to next year my insurance all of a sudden double the premium. So, but the reason why he announced it is actually for the fact that he wants the Democrat to go back into the conversation and talk with him to negotiating again with the plan, what will be the plan for next year. But as if you know, people are now in Affordable Care Act with Obamacare, and we know that Trump Care was kind of put in down. And now he's announcing this, creating a lot of fear among us just to get the conversation rolling again.
Good. Okay, I understand your explanation. As a matter of fact, we're on the same page. Only we take different perspectives.
Correct.
Right. My perspective was that should healthcare be a political issue? The answer is yes or no. And the fact is that the second issue is that they are making it a political issue.
Correct.
Right? Which is totally wrong, and I do not agree. So, if you would agree on page number 1 with me that the healthcare issue should not at all be a political issue, do you or not believe?
I agree with you completely.
You agree with me, right? It is a system that we need to care ourselves. We want to live longer. That's it.
Correct.
Okay. In the system that we do even care about our street dogs or our cats. We have even animal shelters, right? So why don't we be nice to us ourselves as human? So there's no political issue or element or even particle of an element in there at all. So this is one thing. Number 2, why would he keep on saying the Democrats? It is not a partisan issue. It is not a political issue. It is an American issue.
Correct.
Am I right? So now, my criticism, the part that I feel the resentment about is that I'm so upset. After taking office almost 100 days already. He is still making a political point. That's not right. That's not right. Look at the Obamacare. Say, hey, there's a hole here, let's fix it. There's a hole there, let's fix it. Am I right? When you get a car, you always want to fix problems. You don't want just to throw the car in the trash and get a new one, unless you're so extra rich.
Correct.
Am I right? So your take as a professional now, what do we want to do in between the two?
Definitely, as professional myself, I think Obamacare already rolled out a lot of the concern, being an individual I have as a citizen of the U.S. As you have known, people who before had no access to care are now able to get the care at an affordable price relatively.
Okay, still affordable, yes. I believe still for lots of loopholes, but affordable.
Correct.
Okay.
So with that concern, I think it's definitely an improvement. It's a bonus with the Obamacare. Now, President Donald Trump coming in, I think, I agree with you completely. He really should focus how to fix the problem where, people are complaining the premium is hiking. How can we implement better healthcare coverage that will improve people's health? Such as we emphasize on prevention instead of diagnosis and treatment. Because if you just prevent something through diagnosis, through preventive care, you diagnosed it and you start the prevention right away instead of you hold off to be maybe an end-stage disease and you go through chemo, which will cost you much, much, much more.
Okay, okay, very good. And this is, I would say, square one, we're talking about the basic. The basic is that you are under a system that you are cared for so that you put up your best, right? Okay, for example, now, my audience is lately you notice me wearing this vest, right? Because my shoulder has a problem. I have to see doctor every other day for acupuncture, and also I'm on medication to kill the pain, to stop the pain, and I can't stand the air conditioning here, so that's why I'm wearing this. Now, with the system, I go see a doctor, I don't pay a lot of premium, and I get cared for. And on one hand, it may look, oh, that's free, everything free. Yes, everything is free. But on the other hand, it's not free at all. Number one, I pay tax.
Correct.
Number two, I pay premium.
Correct.
Right. My tax plus my premium, of course, still much, much higher than the doctor cost for my shoulder. I'm still happy with it. This is the system. If somebody cut this off, you're going to lose a host, right?
Correct.
You're going to lose a show host, right? Probably somebody better could be sitting here, but at least you're missing Jack Chow, something like that. The system cannot fail. It's a failure of the system. It's a failure of this nation.
Correct.
It's broken of the promise.
Correct.
Right. So now what are we going to do? We're lost.
So with right now, we really have to just be patient and see what President Donald Trump is going to do. Because right now, he's not announcing anything new. The fact that last week, on Wednesday, he announced the budget cut. And on Thursday, he signed a bill in privately without any media present that he's going to cut the budgeting to help women's health group, which is called Planned Parenthood. I don't know if aware of that. That is basically an organization that advocates for the women's rights to access to affordable health care. As a result, it creates a lot of anger among the women who, originally were getting maybe the birth control, the Planned Parenthood from the organization, and even any diagnosis for AIDS, breast cancers. That creates a chaos in the communities that we have heard of. So the announcement of different, budget cutting, I really don't know what is all the purpose behind this, and if it's actually going to roll out. But for me, what concerns me most is that, right now, until the end of 2017, we still have Obamacare. If you need to get your body checked up using your plan right now, you should do it right away. Because we don't know what the plan is
Before it's too late
next year, and what the copay, what the premium will be paying next year. Correct.
Okay. So you heard that loud, right? My audience says that's a good advice. It's the most sounding advices I've heard so far. If you have missed or you haven't done for quite a while your physical annual whatever checkup from head to toe, do it. Do it anyway, because you never know. You never know what's going to be next year.
Correct.
You never know how much you're going to pay. So that's a big thing. All right, now, I'm still very confused about Obamacare. Has a lot of problems with it. That's a fact, right? Instead of fixing the problems, they are trying to overturn it. And for the overturn, they do not have a plan yet, right? So by simple logic, you want to overturn something, you better plan yourself in advance. Say, here's a plan, let's overturn it. You don't want to say, let's overturn it, let me work out a plan. By logic, to people at your age, right, people your profession, do you think that's a smart way to do?
Definitely not. Definitely not, because it will create many problems more than one. You know, the simplest problem, the essential problem is that where are we getting our care from? You know, and then people with care, with healthcare comes the cost of healthcare, and then with cost of healthcare comes our health. You know, if we cannot afford the healthcare, if it's too much for my family, we might not just get insurance, we just be uninsured. And that means if I have an emergency, I have a car accident, for example, since we drive so much in California, I'll end up in the ER. You know, one night in the ER is close to 20,000, 30,000 sometimes.
Okay,
even.
sure, that's easy.
Yeah, as a result, if I don't have the ability to pay for it, you know, to pay for the bill, I will just, you know, either ruin my credit or I will seek government for help. And as a result, you know, the government eventually still have to pay for this, you know, through many, many ways, or through different subsidy program like Medicaid. But as a result, we're left worse off eventually for everyone.
And I believe that we spent quite some time talking about the ER versus the government burden, that problem, right? We came to a conclusion that Obamacare is the one that will take care of it, starting by prevention. Starting by seeing doctors before it's too late, right? Those are good points, right? So why, my question, my confusion is why those good points can't be carried on to the new plan? Why you want to overturn the whole thing? Okay, now, after all, if you go back to the old days, it is too costly. We cannot afford going back. When we got back, we're talking about 20 million or 30 million people uncovered, and then they're going to crowd the ERs, and the bills, the rejected bills, goes to the government. The government still have to pay.
Correct.
It's end up the same thing. It's getting worse and worse. And next thing you do, you reduce the ER quality, and then more people get sick, more people go to ER. That's by logic, right?
Correct.
So my dear audiences, my lovely audiences, today we're talking about the health issue. The healthcare starting the first few weeks when President Donald Trump took office was quite a hot subject for quite some time. And during the last 1 month, or probably 4 weeks, 5 weeks period of time, it gets a little quiet, and we're not worried. I mean, we're not getting any information from that. We're getting worried. And the news came as of Wednesday or Thursday that secretly President Trump had signed some budget cut to the whole basket that we're worried about. By and by, he's going to take a big chunk from the basket, right? So with my friend Coco Wang of Gold Owner, a professional in the healthcare industry, we're getting some answers. And she has just now made a very golden quality recommendation that you better want to go check yourself, right? Okay, and when we come back after this very short break, we're going to ask her for more advices about what to do now while still valid, what to do now while still not too late. So stay with us, please. Hello, my dear audience, my lovely audience. Welcome back to the show. Jack Chow is your host, and I believe that I'm so devoted that every time when chances allow, when I say chances allow, I'm saying that when UA is not dragging customers out of the cabin, when we're not bombing Syria, when we are not launching a war against Iraq, when we are not doing big elections, those are the moments that we want to get some info into the show to get our lovely audiences informed. I believe you deserve the best information, not a second hand, but a first hand. In order to get the first-hand information, today it is special concern about our healthcare. Is my good friend Coco Wang of Gold Honor. She's a CEO, wonderful, young, beautiful CEO in the healthcare business. We discuss about the overall picture. We discuss about a comparison of the existing Obamacare and between the existing Obamacare and the incoming Trump care, quote unquote, if they say they do have one. And we're talking about what are we going to do. Now we came to point number 4. Well, we need your devices. Well, you just gave us one advice at the previous segment that say, before it's too late, before everything is still valid, go do yourself a favor, right? What else favor can we do ourselves before it's too late? Please.
Definitely, I think being, a consumer, a health insurance consumer myself, is staying informed. There's different news about this. You always want to be keep informed. And as residents here and citizens here, we could vote for different options to be carried out or to be stopped. A little might not do a big thing, but a combination of little voters can do a big things. And as individual ourselves, you will always want to speak up for your rights. Speak up for your ability to help the community. Like myself, I enroll with different organizations that they send us news updates regarding different healthcare industry decisions made by Donald Trump. And as a result, based on that, I will stay informed with my clients, saying that, oh, hey, if you're a small group employer, next year maybe you will have this coming up. I will let you know in advance, so it will better prepare you for the future.
I see.
Yeah, if you don't have an agent, that is okay, but always definitely stay informed by going through different websites. Keep in tune for the radio of your own language and even the newspapers and the local TV shows.
Or tune in to our show,
Definitely.
then we'll talk about it.
Correct.
44.9, right?
Correct.
Okay, right. Now, I want to come to the individual points, right? One by one. If say I need a walking stick, right? The system covers now, okay? Even though it's not an emergency, go get it. Am I saying the right thing, or is it good advice? Because even I get it tomorrow, next year, they might not cover.
Yeah. So now the uncertainty exists in the premium, as we talked about, and also the co-payment for different, treatment you're getting. Anything like durable medical equipment, depending on your benefit, you're getting your durable medical for free. Some may pay a co-pay, but eventually, we don't know the co-payment for next year until coming up November.
Yeah, a walker or a walking stick,
Yeah, or even
a
oxygen.
wheelchair,
Correct.
a hearing aid, or an eyesight aid, whatever thing, right? While the system is still working, we better go get it.
Correct. So
Right?
any benefit that you actually medically necessarily need.
How do you call it? Durable devices or what?
Durable medical equipment.
Durable medical equipment,
Correct.
right? So those are mostly the stuff like that, the eye, to the hearing, and to your legs, to walking, stuff like that, right?
Actually, for Medicare patients, if you are in the Medicare Advantage plan, like an HMO plan, usually they have some extra auxiliary benefits that will complement, for your cost of, they may have a budget for your eyeglasses, for your hearing aid, for a wheelchair. But for an individual like us, under age 65, who are buying through Cover California or commercial or group plans, we do not have vision. We do not have dental, only pediatrics. So maybe I have a kid who is enrolled with me with the plan, but under the age of 18, they will have annual access to that. So definitely you want to get your kids, their eyeglasses, their hearing checked, and if they do need those a benefit, they could use it up for this year at least.
In other words, to do it before it's too late.
Correct.
All right. And is that a good way to storage some medication? For example, I probably want to store some amoxicillin or whatever, so for later use. Could that be a thought?
That I would definitely not recommend it.
You not?
Yeah,
Okay.
the reason being too, the first one is medication. We have a lot of medical abuse in the industry that people ask for medications and they sometimes don't take it all. Like myself, I really hate taking medication. Sometimes I go to my doctor for infection, maybe a sore throat. They give me the antigens to take, but then I sometimes don't even take it because I feel I could heal myself. And as a result, those will end up in the trash can, or I will recycle them with the pharmacy. That's definitely a medical abuse. If we prescribe the medication in advance and we, take them gradually, that's definitely a medical excuse. So definitely don't do that.
We don't want to do that.
Yeah,
Okay.
but any checkup.
And it expires. Yes, it expires. Yes. A certain time.
Correct.
Lifetime, right? It expires. Okay, very good. What is about some other supply? For example, bandage or gauze or stuff like that. Those things that you can store a little bit.
Yeah, those are definitely over the counter. So over the counter meaning you don't need a doctor prescription to buy them. Like Costco, if you go to Costco, there's all the multivitamins, anything that's dietary supplement related that keeps your health or even maintain it to not worsen. So those products, you don't have to worry. I don't think there will be a huge hike on those payments.
Lastly, I'm going to ask one more time, because I asked it just now. I want to do it again for my audience. Is how likely do you think that Obamacare will be killed?
I really don't think it will be killed. I think President Donald Trump now, I don't really personally think that he has a replacement plan rolling out. But
bluffing?
Yeah, most likely bluffing. And getting the conversation going by making people have fear, making people worry, so they will pay attention to what he says and what his plan is more. So like I mentioned earlier with the Planned Parenthood, if they do get the budget cut, that they don't have the women with lower income, they have 100 million people with them. That's most likely Medi-Cal holders. If they now next year don't have access to birth control, don't have access to breast cancer screening, AIDS testing, those items you could do it in advance. Yeah, you could do those checkup in advance, definitely.
All right. In other words, it's an issue that you can't afford the delaying, right? Because deaths are happening every single second, right? Problem could occur any single second. It's not a child play. It's serious business, all right? Okay. And what else you believe that our audience deserve to know? Or, by the way, we want to voice out. We want to let our voices be heard, right? So is there any window that we want to sign our names or to say something on a website or whatever? Is there anything you recommend?
So in local districts, we have our district representative for the White House. So these people, you could reach out to them. They always have special events, maybe a gathering with ABC organization, a charity dinner with XYZ organization. Those you should stay tuned because these are a great networking opportunity. You could meet with them, tell them your concerns, and they are the ones who could bring out your voice to the White House, to the general public, and they might even start some movements or activities that could bring out, everyone to sign or to advocate for everybody's voice.
Thank you very much. And the last Friday in the afternoon, I went to an event which is totally related to the subject today, but I want to share with my audience while you and I are here talking. It was a town hall, some kind of gathering, talking about immigration reform, stuff like that. What I saw was not an issue itself. What I saw that it kind of hit me most was the fact that the American people, at least in the House, under that roof, are divided, are evenly divided. I would say the word with many tears in my eyes that they are evenly divided. Even by sitting, they chose to sit together, right? And you know, is America is no longer what it used to be, right? Okay, and those are facts. Those are issues between poor and the rich. Issues may be characterized by the fact that this is a poor issue or is a rich issue. So I'm very worried about that. I believe my audience, you have the same feeling about it. So anyway, this is just a surface, or anyway, for this today's show. I thank you very much, my dear friends, for watching. And to my dear friend Coco, thank you very much for coming here to share. And we will still have you come back when things are getting a little better or a little worse. Whatever. Thank you very much. So see you next time.